The Trump State Department, headed up by Marco Rubio, has finally released their annual report on the state of human rights around the world. And no surprise, it has been heavily edited, not to include actual abuses and rights violations against, well, groups that Trump and Republicans don't actually believe are humans and so shouldn't have human rights. Specifically, LGBTQ people. As NPR notes, this year's congressionally mandated report, which was initially prepared under the Biden administration, was delayed for months so that the State Department could, remove references to categories of human rights violations, quote, not explicitly required by statute, which is a rather dry way of saying that there are groups of people they did not want to include as losing their human rights because, well, they don't think those groups are deserving of human rights. In March, both NPR and Politico had reported on internal documents instructing State Department employees to cut references to gender-based violence, so sorry women, environmental justice, sorry everyone, okay, restrictions on political participation. Oh, you want to participate in elections and stuff? No. No, not if you're groups that we don't like. Government corruption, because let's be honest, this Trump government is all about corruption. Sexual violence against children. QAnon, where are you? And violations of the rights of LGBTQ plus and disabled people, among scores of other human rights categories. Now, I just want to get back to the sexual violence against children. They're taking that out of these reports. Why? Because the Republican Party is the pedophile protection party. That's who they are. Now, of course, State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce said during a Tuesday press briefing that, hey, we weren't going to release something compiled and written by the previous administration. Are you kidding me? No, we're not going to do that. She also said that the report, quote, needed to be changed to fit the view and vision of the current president. You know what that sounds like to me? Political correctness. This regime is politically correct. And this is the result, okay? They are doing their political correctness, which leaves out everyone except the very few groups, okay, that, yes, that they actually agree with, that they're actually looking out for, which happens to be pretty much straight white Christians, okay? And that's it. Straight white Christians across the world. That's pretty much who they're looking at. They're pretty much who they're looking to defend. Everyone else, fend for yourselves. Okay. Now, Trump's vision does not include categories of human rights violations that have been included since the 1970s. The report itself is about a third the length that it has been in previous years. Now, the outlet also noted that Marco Rubio had declined to hold the usual public briefing on this annual report. Because, of course, Marco Rubio is one of the most blatant examples of a pathetic toady that you could imagine. Just weak and feckless and pathetic. No pushback at all. No spine. No spine for Marco. You have nothing. No balls. You're ballless. Period. All right. Now, as the Washington Blade notes, the sections on Uganda and Hungary make no mention of the country's laws and restrictions they have passed in recent years on LGBTQ plus rights. Now, weirdly enough, though, they actually did mention Russia, which no doubt will probably anger a lot of pro-Russian MAGA chuds. But they did mention Russia's 2024 law banning propaganda on non-traditional sexual relations, okay, to children, which has been used to suppress any expression of LGBTQ plus identity and to target those groups, rights groups, as, quote, extremist organizations. Now, look, you're not going to be surprised that Russia's law, like a lot of laws that are passed with a, oh, we got to protect the children, right? They don't actually protect kids at all, okay? The biggest threats to children are members of the clergy and Republican presidents. Look, during a Tuesday press conference call with reporters, former Biden administration special U.S. envoy for the promotion of LGBTQ plus and intersex rights and co-founder of the Alliance for Diplomacy and Justice, Jessica Stern, said that while she and her colleagues expected the report to be bad, they were, quote, shocked and horrified by what the administration released. She said, according to The Blade, that this is deliberate erasure. Look, I'm not surprised. I'm not walking around with Pikachu face here. I expect the worst, and I constantly get what I expect. I mean, from this administration, there is no bottom to that barrel. I understand that. I not only understand that, I expect them to go lower than the bottom. I mean, we're tunneling towards the Earth's core. We're going to come out in China. Okay, that's how low we're going. Look, this regime has already erased transgender people. They've been coming after the unhoused, okay, in order to throw them into camps. Trump is creating a police state that is punishing his enemies. While people like Little Marco support it. They say nothing. Okay? They say nothing. Little Marco, he is a traitor. Because he is assisting in all of this. And standing back and not doing a damn thing. Period. Now, Representative Mark Takano has accused the administration of condoning the abuse, violence, and criminalization of the LGBTQ plus community that they're facing all around the world. Quote, erasing our community from these reports makes it that much harder for human rights advocates, the press, the American people to be aware of the abuses that they face worldwide. Failing to rectify the censorship will have a real and potentially deadly consequences for this group, LGBTQI plus people, including both for those who travel abroad from the U.S. and for people in countries whose leadership no longer need to worry about the consequences for their human rights abuses. The State Department must reverse course and restore the LGBTQI plus section to these reports. According to The Blade, the Council for Global Equality has filed a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit seeking the release of these of additional information, including any instructions provided by political appointees to strip references to abuses against LGBTQI plus persons from these reports. The group's co-chair, Mark Bromley, said in a statement that the Council for Global Equality denounces the administration's efforts to politicize the annual reports by stripping longstanding references to human rights abuses targeting LGBTQI plus and other marginalized groups. The group also condemns the glaring omission of violence and abuse targeting lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex persons in the U.S. Chris Van Hollen went further and basically tied all of this to Trump's domestic policies. He said, if the administration is going to be undermining human rights here, they don't want to have to report on what's happening in other countries. Bingo. Bingo. Look, I feel like, honestly, seeing everything that's happening, we are on the precipice of a new Holocaust. And I don't like to say that because, I mean, it sounds like, no, there's no way, that can't happen here. No, but it is. And it's a long, slow march. Look, the first step is erasing people. And that's what they're doing here. Then comes the criminalization. Eventually, down the line, that's when you get to the gas chambers. You have to remember that the LGBTQIA community was targeted first by the Nazis. I mean, history, especially when you erase it, when you downplay it, has a nasty habit of repeating if you don't know it. And that's exactly what this first step is leading to. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share,
share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.